Hello, welcome to Zerift Gaming. I'm Zerift. How are you doing? Today we're going to be talking about the unwritten rules for D&D. Now, you're wondering what are these unwritten rules and what are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about, of course, there's a few unwritten rules, and in not obeying these rules will get you kicked from the table because they just won't have you if you're just breaking these rules, and they're not in the player's handbook. They're not in DMG. But these are the rules, like, I'm talking about the ones when in game. How someone behaves in game that could be seen as offensive or disrespectful to the DM. And this is one such rule is actually seen very disrespectful to DM. Uh, um, and this and it's basically about the DM's expectations in the social contract. Now, the social contract is this invisible contract which you don't sign, but you're kind of signed when you agreed when you went to this table, which the players expect from the DM, like to know the rules and so forth, run a great game. But there's also expectations for the players. And the player side, this is the problem I see is that a lot of DMs complain about having problem players for not, and a lot of these are contributing not knowing these unwritten rules. So that's what I'm going to talk about for these next series videos if from this experiment is that these are the rules that you should follow. You're not going to find written down anywhere. Like some of them are easy and simple. Don't be a murder hobo. Don't go running around with random NPCs for no reason. Don't steal from other players. These are obvious unwritten rules. But here's one that this slips by a lot of people, and I've heard so many problems with this one, is that the promise, when you go into this game, the promise that you're going to go adventuring. Now, fair enough, a adventure can take many forms, but you don't have to follow the white owl that says follow me to your destiny, but you do have to go adventuring. You do have to do something. And this is what I was surprised how many people had a problem with this. And you're like, is this a big problem? Yeah, a lot of people really just players don't do anything. It's okay if you don't follow the rail system from the game, but there's a difference between that and not doing anything, just waiting for stuff to be handed to you. Like, there's this one example by another fellow YouTuber. I'm not going to say his name because professionalism. Talked about how he offered these players this adventure, and it basically goes adventure. They're like, no. They're just sitting in a tavern. This person goes, have you heard about adventure? And they're like, no, we're just sitting in a tavern. The mayor comes and offers some gold. No, there's an adventure. And it got to the point where the DM offered a magic item. And they're like looking for DMG. Unless it's this item, I'm not going after it. And this is what I mean by disrespectful. Because you have to understand, a DM puts a lot of hours, a lot of hard work into this venture to make it fun for you. And you sit there, and these players just sit there not doing anything and expect to be handed a magic item. Get a magic item out of this, I have my players earn magic items, so this to me I found really unacceptable. And that's what my point is, kind of my point, it brings me to my point, is that as a player, you have to do something. Like, if you don't want to go adventuring, that's fine. But, build a shop, sell stuff. That's one thing. Uh, maybe you don't want to go after the wizard, evil wizard, but you may want to explore a cave nearby or something. But you always have to do something, something could be defined as some form of adventure. And yes, business stuff like building a bathhouse or building a adventures guild is considered a form of adventuring, because it's a different type of adventure in itself, because you're going through enterprise or whatever. Um, but that's kind of my point. And what shocks me is how many people have a problem with players just not doing anything. It's the one thing if they're disinterested, but if you don't do anything from the beginning to the end, and you just sit there in adventures and expect the DM to keep you around, like, why should they run the game if you're not going to do anything in the game? You always have to do something. That's the unwritten rule. When I play this game, I make a promise that I'm going to go out and do some form of adventure, whether it's enterprise or just regular out adventuring, go finding goblins. But you promise that you make this unspoken promise that you're going to do this when you play this game, because this is what it's about. It's about Dungeons and Dragons. It's about exploring this world full of dragons and dungeons and other things. And I think a lot of people make this mistake. And so the DM does have a lot of expectations from his players, and vice versa. The players have expectations for them, but never expect, as a player, you have these expectations from the DM expecting you to do something. And that's the first unwritten rule we're talking about is do something. As long as it falls within these rules, like don't be a murder hobo, don't steal from other players, but do a promise to adventure, a promise to do something great. So, yeah, that's the rule I wanted to talk about. Quick few announcements. There was no stream last Sunday because scheduling issues. There will be a stream this coming Sunday of Desert Desolation, and after that Sunday will be the following Sunday. After that will be Dragonlance 5e. It will return to its regular bi-weekly schedules, just switching back and forth between the two. And I hope this was intuitive. So this is Zerift signing off.